Good morning, dear students. I am Indu Shrivasatava, Assistant Professor of Department of Computer Science and Engineering, SIRTS Bhopal. Today, we will going to study about the continuation of our subject, and we will going to cover today the topic of the architecture business cycle. So let's we start. What is architecture business cycle, right? So here you can see the architecture business cycle. Before we study about the architecture business cycle, first we discuss what is software architecture, right? So the software architecture of a program or computing system is the structure of the system which comprise software element, the externally visible property of those elements and the relationship among them, right? So this is a brief description of the software architecture. So let's start. What is software? What is architecture business cycle, right? So architecture business cycle is also known as the ABC. So software architecture is a result of technical, business and social influence, and its extension in turn affect the technical, business and social environment that subsequently influence future architecture, right? So, and we can say that we call this cycle of influence from the environment to the architecture and back to the environment and the architecture business cycle. And you can say that this business architecture cycle is very useful uh, for so many purpose, and the organization goals of the business architecture cycle are bagged requirements which bagged an architecture which bagged and system. The architecture follow the architect experience and the technical environment of the day. The basically there are three things required for the architecture business cycle. So first one is case study of successful architecture crafted to satisfy demanding requirements so as to help set the technical playing field of the day, right? So, and next one is method. In method to success an architecture before any system is built from it, so as to mitigate the risks associated with the launching unexpected, unprecedented design. And techniques for, and next one is techniques for incremental architecture based development, so as to uncover design flaws before it too late to correct them, right? So these are the three basic required we follow to create a software business cycle. And where do architecture come from, right? So here basically architecture influence these points. First one is architecture are influenced by the system stockholder. That means many peoples and organizations are interested to construction of the software, and stockholders are the customer, the end user, the developer, the project manager, the maintenance, and even those who market in the system, right? So stockholder have a different concern that they wish to system to guarantee or optimize, including things as desire as providing a certain behavior at a runtime, performing well on particular pieces of hardware, bring easy to customize, achieving short time to market or low cost of development, right? So software and system stockholder having this perform this kind of thing. And next one is software Next one is software influenced by the developing organization, right? In developing organizations, in addition to organizational goal expressed through the requirements and architectures is influenced by the structure or nature of the development organizations. For example, if the organization has a audience of ideal programs skilled in the client server communication, then a client architecture might be an approach supported by the management. And if not any well be rejected, staff skills are one additional influence, but so they are the development schedule and the budget. So there are the three classes of the influence that come from the development organization. First one is immediate business, long-term business, and organizational business, right? So this is the second influence, architecture influenced. And next one is the architecture are influenced by the background and experience of the architect, right? So if the architect for the system have a had a good result being using a particular architectural approach such as a distributed object or implicit innovations changes are that they will try to some approach on a new development efforts, right? And also you can say that the architectural choose many may also come from the architect educations and training, exposure to successful architectural pattern or exposure to system that they have worked particularly, right? And in a good manner. And also you can say that the architect may also wish to experiment with an architectural pattern or technique learned from the book, right? So architecture are influenced by the background and experience of the architect, right? So and next one is the architectures are influenced by the technical environment, right? So technical environment, the we can say that a special case of architect background and experience are influenced by the technical environment, right? So the environment that is current when the architect is designed well influence that architect. And it might be include standard industries practices or software engineering techniques to prevent the architect professional community. And also it is a brave architect who in the today's environment does not at least considered a web based object oriented or middleware supported design for an information system, right? So basically in here we architect come from in that purpose and that side, basically architecture influenced in that section, right? So here you can see the architecture business cycle. Here in this diagram you can with the help of this diagram you can understand what is going on. The organization goal of the business architecture cycles are very important. And this is completed in these four phases, right? So here already we discussed about the this architect influenced by the four persons: stockholder, developing organization, technical environment, and architect experience, right? So when we want to create, yeah, we want to develop a software, then we think about it before we developing any kind of software, right? We think about those things. So here we ramifications of the various influence on the architect, the property, right? So we discuss about this thing also here. So you can say that the property required by the business and organizational's goal are seldom completely understood, and customer requirements are often not complete, or well documented, and architect must identify and actively engage stockholder to solicit their needs and expectation and their requirement, they fulfill their requirement. So architect must identify the stockholder problems also. And in addition of technical skills, architects needs to be skilled in discipline and diplomacy and the communication, right? So and also architecture affect the factors that influence them. The architecture affect the structure of the developing organization, and also architecture can affect the goal of the developing organization. And also you can say that the architecture can affect the customer requirement for the next system, and will affect to architecture for a future system. So the architecture may affect the software engineering culture also, right? So this factor, when this factor will affect architecture, uh, right? And architecture activities, software architecture activities perform the some activities. When we create a software, then this activity will perform creating a business case for a system and understanding the requirements, right? So these are the activity performed by the mm, and the next activity performed by the software architecture, creating or selecting the architect and communicating the architecture and analyzing or evaluating the architecture, implementing based on the architecture, ensuring confirmation to the architecture, right? So this activity will be performed by the software architect. And what makes a good architectural process, right? So here we discuss about the process, good architectural process, right? So the architecture should be the product of the single architect or a small group of architect, and also the architect should gather both of the functional requirements and well specified and a list of quality attributes. And the architect should be well documented with a latest one static view and one dynamic view. And the architecture should be reviewed by the systems stockholder, right? So this is the good process. And in the continuation of that, the architecture should be analyzed for applicable quantitative measurement and formally evaluated for quality measures. And so here are some, these are the good architectural process. And what make a good architectural structure, right? So this the architecture should architecture should well defined module based on the principles of information hiding and spreading of the concern. And each module should have a well defined interface that hides changeable aspects. And quality attributes should be achieved using well known architectural practice. And the architecture should be a depending of particular versions of commercial product or rules, right? So this is the structure. And also in the continuation of good architectural structure, here we discuss the module that product data should be separate from the modules that consume data. And for the parallel processing system, the architect should features well-defined process or tasks that do not necessarily mirror the module composition structure. And every task or process should be specified so that it assignment to a particular process can easily changed, right? So these are the good architectural structure, right? So today topic we have covered, today we covered architecture business cycle, right? So thank you for this.